Hey, welcome to episode 97 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. We limping along, but we getting to 100. The 100 coming very, very slowly but surely. I don't think I ever wait so long for some episodes to pass. This is the longest 10 episodes I've ever gotten to, but we getting there. People don't call me and warn me and tell me that the birthday fall is on the 100 episodes. I think, damn, all right, okay, everybody relax. You'll get to the 100. But we have plenty of things to cover today. As I say that every week, right? But this episode is really a follow-up episode. I ain't talking about nothing new. We getting back into PC jokes and the commissioner's response. Rest in peace to his family, of course. And, you know what I mean? Condolences. Rest in peace to him and condolences to his family, of course. Let me slow down, eh? And then I seen police in the news again for FUL, man getting arrested for apparent FUL racket. We will get into that. And in the midst of all these parties that going on, I saw over the weekend, Kes and David Rudder had show. If there are two men who going and put on a show where everybody going and have a time, Kes and David Rudder up, they were the best of them, you know, in terms of performances, and there are some similar styles too. You think we have time to play some Kes and some David Rudder? I don't think we have time to play that in this episode because there are some songs we had to play from a particular artist that I want to get through as much of them as I could. So I owe in only a Kes and a David Rudder, right? But I'm also going to get into this Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. Condolences to his family and all that, because I have a question for people. I need to know if it is okay to be, or do we need to show reverence to the irreverent? If he was irreverent in life, do you deserve reverence in that? Because it went wild when people found out it. No, I was surprised at it because to me, the fella looked very, very healthy, taking care of himself, and you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess you just never know. When is your time, is your time. But boy, people get back at Kevin Samuels for every word he say about women. Boy, listen. But we will get into that. Eventually. But I want to take a moment to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who listen to the Corey Shepherd podcast. Happy Mother's Day to you all. We love you all as mothers. You know, on Mother's Day, they like to say all the mothers who's played the role of mother and father. Listen, whatever role you play as a woman in the society, you're a mother. And I always spare a moment as I live and learn for people who Mother's Day might not be the happiest day for them because they would have gone through things where motherhood was concerned or lost their own mother. Salute to my girl G. I thought it was 2 years since we had lost that Stacy grandmother, old G. So salute to G and happy Mother's Day. Happy Heavenly Mother's Day to people like G, Auntie Francia, Mother, Auntie Maria, Auntie Gertrude. There's a long list of people, you know, but we're celebrating those who here. And one of the people who's still here with us is somebody who turned 82 years old last week. I tell you, it's a follow-up. I'm going to name this episode Belated. So happy belated birthday to the great Calypso Rose. Yes? Yes.
Well, greatest musicians, they know a good tune when they hear it croon. So when I drop me bomb, in nation, they say it's class, give me the road match. Now they address me as your majesty. They say me music suited, make what it wants to be. It has this way to jump on carnival day.
Road March 1977 and 78. So this song would have come out in 78, right after she win the Road March, becoming the first woman ever to win a Road March. We could do that as a trivia thing. I wonder if I'm going to know the second song she win Road March within 78. I know you know the first one. You could do some trivia. Tell me if you know the second one she win in the YouTube comments. Let me see how much all you really know Kaiso.
Everybody hush. They say it was brainwash.
Yes.
All that kitchen is all they that's here. That statement is not true. Plenty people lost their shoe. It was my new beat made trouble on the street. Now they address me as your majesty. They say me straight to jump on Carnival Day. The brass taking the load, they call me Queen, Queen, oh Majesty, Queen of the road.
Legendary Calypso Rose. As much as we're celebrating the mothers this week, we want to say happy birthday to Rose, 82 years and going strong. I was reporting on this podcast the other day that she wasn't feeling so good and she had cancelled some tour dates. But he said that she's looking forward to going back on the road and working, you know what I mean? She wants to see her fans, she missed them dearly. So I given Ollie that piece of trivia. Tell me the second song she win the road march with. Let me see how good Ollie is. And I will probably play the first song she win the road march with before we get out of here. But I also want to tell you that road march must start to count since in the 40s. I mean, it's our road marches listed from the 1800s, right? And there's only 3 women who win road march. I feel I should. Let me make that part of the trivia too. Tell me, I wonder if. Don't go on Google nothing, no. Tell me if you know who's the other 2 women to win road marches. Now, Rose didn't just win one when she win it, no. She went back to back. You have somebody else who went back to back as well. But another woman went in between the. Only know what to, but I don't know if Ollie will remember. So that's my little test for the week. That's your homework. Tell me who win it. Now, I'm going to the Newsday, right? And I'm taking a piece from Melissa Doherty. Calypso Rose, 82. So it says here, she's 82, and Linda MacArthur, Sandy Lewis, Calypso Rose, her string of firsts in Calypso continues. Well, I say that right? Her string of firsts. So she's the first to do something, right? The Calypso legend turned 82 on April 27th and is set to release a new album called Forever. Imagine that. She's singing since forever. And she's releasing an album called Forever. Listen, let me take a minute to talk to myself here. And anybody who might be listening to myself. You see, anything you want to do in this life, start to do it. Go after it. Don't let your dreams die off. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you want to achieve and you want to accomplish, go for it. Because if Calypso Rose at 82 could come and sing an album called Forever, you know what I mean, at this stage of her life, when she have all right to lie down home and cock up that foot and relax. She have all right to do that, but she working on her next album. Think of what it takes to work on an album, how much instrumental you have to listen to, go in studio, do track, you understand? It's plenty work it takes to do an album. She ain't doing a release for this year and a little one song for COVID to see if she could jump on her truck to win road march. No, a complete album at 82. So I'm using this to say to myself, whatever you want to achieve in this life, it's never too late to start doing it. We're taking that from Calypso Rose, right? In this Mother's Day week. The first album single, Watina, will feature famed Grammy Award-winning musician Carlos Santana and will be released on May 20th. You know, we're looking forward to that. You know, it's played by Carlos Santana. That Carlos Santana is who Calypso Rose have on an album with her. The Mexican-born American musician has many awards to his name and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. Posting to her Facebook page on April 27th, Rose said she was feeling good and she thanked God for having kept her all these years. She quoted her saying, "I miss you, my fans, all over the world. I think about you all the time. But don't worry. Next month, you will get a taste of me with Watina, my first song off the new album, Forever." Rose doing promotion to hear Rose song like Rose promoting she album, she making joke, you know. So that is something that we definitely had to salute. Congratulations to Calypso Rose. Happy birthday to you. What a way to mark your birthday, but to bring a new album to us in these times here. Coming off of the COVID, coming off of how long you might not be able to perform, how long you might not be able to sing. We happy to see you. We happy to have a new album from you. We're looking forward to it. I think the move to get Carlos Santana on the album is a big move. Let me get some more on it now. She's having a little gathering with all the people around her. There's a manager talking, Jean-Michel Gilbert. He said Rose was enjoying the day resting comfortably in Queens at her new home. All morning she's been receiving phone calls from all over the world and she's received bouquets coming from all over the world like France, etc. She's really, really happy. She's joking and is in really good spirits. The consistent musician continues to produce hit albums. In 2016, she was given the Womex Artist of the Year award. And in 2017, she was awarded TNT's highest honor, the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Wait, no. Did I miss this? Salute to Calypso Rose. I don't want to make this sound like I taken nothing from Rose. As far as I can tell, you know how I feel. Rose deserve the Order of the Republic. Well, thank God it has some Calypsonians who's get the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, but please, somebody please go and fix this thing with Kitchener and get him man the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago now. It is certainly it's safe to say that where Calypso Rose is a recipient of this, Kitchener should be a recipient of it as well. But alright, I'll leave that alone. It's about Rose now, right? Her recent hits such as Leave Me Alone featuring Manu Chao and a remix version by Marshall Montano have endeared her to a new generation of listeners. So although Rose has been constantly touring, she hasn't been doing so since the pandemic. Of course, the manager says we don't want Rose to get COVID. Also, it would have been quite difficult to organize because of her condition. She's an older woman. He was talking about touring and what to do with the new songs and all that. Gilbert said Rose then said if she could not be with her fans physically, she'll do it through music. And that was how the album release came about. You see what I'm saying? She decided if she said no and she can't perform, she produced it. He said she had been working on the album for the past 4 years. It was recorded in different countries, New York, Paris, Belize, and in Trinidad and Tobago. It is amazing to me. You know? Gilbert said that the single was done in honor of I go and get this wrong. This is terrible. Garifuna people. Garifuna people are mixed African and indigenous people, and Garifuna people reside in St. Vincent, Belize, and other parts of the region. Watina, which is a big anthem song for the Garifuna, Rose did a rendition with her own talent on this song. It will be Rose and also with Carlos Santana. So salute and happy birthday to Calypso Rose. And I just want to say, if you get a chance, right, try to take in a Calypso Rose interview on YouTube. Like, she has some interviews out there, and listen to her talk about her struggles coming up, trying to make her way in Tobago and then leaving Tobago, and also her own battle. Imagine if you're 82 years old, imagine the different eras that she lived through and having to deal with, she said, a lot of Calypsonians, men in the industry who have expectation of her and so on. And she eventually came out and said that she was a lesbian. She wasn't interested in no man. I want to say that she spoke about something like sexual misconduct or something like that, if I remember right. And she has of course, an amazing story, not just of success, but a lot of struggles and triumph over the years. And her interviews really, really moving, because when you listen to Calypso Rose, one of the things that comes out is a sort of radiance from inside. She always looks like she wearing a big heavy smile, and she's just that mother of Calypso, in this Mother's Day week. She's just that type of person. You get a real motherly energy from her every time you listen to her. And one of the things I want you to check out too is her performances, like some of her performances in Europe. I remember watching the Bob Marley documentary, right? That's one of my favorite movies. Stacey's get fed up with me how much I watch reruns. Only I like reruns. I like to only watch movies that I see before. I don't know what this is. Maybe I'll talk to a psychiatrist about it one day. But you see, when I work hard and take pressure all day, I want to see something I see already. Strange, but Marley is one of them things that I watch hundreds of times. And when you watch that documentary, again, you set a respect for Bob Marley, understand a little bit more than I had known about him before. And I started watching performances on YouTube. And he had this mesmerizing way about the way he was on stage. The best way I could put it is like, when he performs, when you watch Bob Marley performing anywhere on YouTube, it looks like he's by himself. He doesn't look like he performing to an audience. I don't know if that making sense. He's look like he's just in his own zone on the stage. And you're not asking, we have a way when we singing, you say something and you point out the mic and the crowd for them to. He wasn't doing a whole lot of that. He was just fully present in his performance, right? To the point where if you listen to No Woman, No Cry, the one from the Legend album, you could hear the crowd. It sounds like the crowd singing out of time with him, right? But it's because the crowd getting picked up on the stage mic. That's how loud they're singing, that you're hearing them from the stage. And they singing the song along with him, and he just performing his song, fully engrossed in it. In a lot of ways, Calypso Rose reminds me of that when she's singing, because listen, when she is out there in Europe or performing in France in particular, those people eating up those songs, they know the lyrics to it, they're singing it along with her, they feel her energy, and she is on stage in a zone, much like how Bob Marley was. Rose still have a little wine, and she at 82, she's still pulling up the shirt. I want to say, Rose, keep your shirt down, but Rose still doing it at 82 years old. So when she's singing Boy, don't touch me like you're going crazy. Let go my hand. Just look at the audience. Or Abatina, oh, who you have there breaking down me do pep. That she have them, or young boy, whichever one she choose to perform. She has a style that's so unique, and she performing up there. She not trying to hype up no crowd or put out no mic, but you hear any crowd singing back her music. And listen, that is amazing to see the mother of Calypso Rose. So before I get into any of the culture and cankalang in today's episode, I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that it's her birthday and salute her on this Mother's Day. Now, before I play the road march, right? I want to know what you do for the weekend for Mother's Day. What you do for all your mother and thing, because I'm not good at this. So. All you gotta help me with this. I'm giving myself an excuse, right? I don't like to make excuses, but I give myself an excuse. You see, my job this get more hectic when it's our holidays coming up. So I just only study the holiday on the holiday. So Mother's Day now I'm scrambling to get organize a little food and make a little, you know what I mean? When I say organize a little food, I mean cook. And by cook, I mean call somewhere and order and pick up, you know? And I decided, you know what I mean, I go in by my mother and spend a little Mother's Day because I have plenty mothers in all there. Blessed like that, and there's plenty mothers. And this Mother's Day, I get to see plenty of my mothers. Plenty of my mothers I get to see. I get to see my wife. She come like my mother too. She had 2 children, you know. I see my moms. Salute to the old Lins. And my mother also give me a next song to play here today that again, I never hear this song neither. Every time you feel you have all the calypsos covered and you know thing, she's always throw one at me, you know. So we go check out that one before we finish talk about Mother's Day. And I guess my mother-in-law, the old Seymour, you know what I mean? And one thing about Seymour, see where Stacey family is concerned, where 2 or more gather together, a quattro and a bass shall appear. And this heavy bassman from hell and dancing like you're afraid to touch me. We are getting a nice little piece of music play for the Mother's Day. So salute to all my mothers that I was able to pass through and see on Mother's Day. Yeah, but I'm not good at the planning in advance. But I had a nice lunch with to tell you the truth, the lunch reached so late. It was about 2-3 o'clock. So them they done it already. And I had to ask, what's this relationship like, you know, because I don't know how things is go for all you with all your mother-in-law and all your mother and all these things and all your wife. But it looked like my mother picked my wife in front of me and my wife picked my mother in front of me. Because imagine the eve of Mother's Day Eve. My wife pack up she judge bundle and go on by my mother for Mother's Day. She go by her mother, you know. She go by my mother. I don't even know if she see her mother for the Mother's Day, but she by my mother. That's whatever. But they bowl me out. Like I was just a conduit to bring these 2 people together. And listen, it's a blessed thing. Only joke I'm making. When your mother and your wife have a good relationship, it's a blessed thing, you know, it's a lucky thing. But I find like they X me out of the equation. So I would like to play this song in livelication to everybody who wife and their mother have a great relationship. And in continuity of the celebration of the 100 years of the Grandmaster Lord Kitchener, I want you taking this. Now, these are not my sentiments. I'm putting it out there. These are not my sentiments. I just thought that for the Mother's Day, I should play a song about mothers and wives, the ones who we celebrate on the Mother's Day. But it's not much different than the wedding songs, because when you see wedding song in Calypso, is Mama Guy and Fatigue, and like when it's Mother's Day is a similar situation. So I want you taking this for me and understand that these are not my, how they say it on your radio, the thoughts and views of the Grandmaster Lord Kitchener are not necessarily the thoughts and views of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Yes. Sing.
If your mother and your wife are drowning,
What?
I want to know which one you would be saving. If your mother and your wife are drowning, I want to know which one you would be saving. Well, for me, I'm holding on to my mother.
What?
And my wife, she will have to excuse Kitchener. I can always get another wife.
What?
But I can never get another mother in my life. some men saying around the corner that they rather their lawful wife than their mother. Ask them the reason, this what they answer. They can romance their wife, but not their mother. Well, my wife can be flourishing in poor and gold, but my mother comes first in this blessed world.
Yes.
Cause I can always get another wife, but I can never get another mother in my life. A quarrel with you and your mother, she may be mad but still consider over the matter. Don't care how hasty that your mother may be, she will never try to make that little talk so lengthy.
Yes.
But your wife, from the time you have a row with her, she gone with somebody to America.
What?
So I can always get another wife, but I can never get another mother in my life. I got to say openly, to compare your mother with your wife is crazy. Your wife is like a little lamb in front you. She pretend to be loving, reliable and true, but go to the bathroom to sponge your face. When you return, another man in your place. So I can always get another wife, but I can never get another mother in my life.
Remember that? Yes. Yes. Are the thoughts and views? Well, I hope all you listen to this podcast by all yourself, you know. But in case you don't, I want to play the real song dedicated to all mothers who listen to this podcast and the mothers of all the people who listen to this podcast. Yes.
Take her out today. Who's going to make her feel okay? Talking about your mama. Without a doubt, you love her. So let us have a big celebration on this magnificent occasion. It's a tribute that we must pay, for today is Mother's Day. Bring me mama. Oh, the one I keep thinking of. Bring me mama. Bring me mama. That little lady whom I really love. I love my mother and you love yours too. And we know we can't repay her for the good she do, but at least we could just hug her up and say Happy Mother's Day.
So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers of the Corey Shepherd podcast. That's all your Mother's Day dedicated. I mean, it's late, but you know, I mean, it's still something. Keep in mind, as I said, that I'm usually very busy leading up to holidays and so on in work. So don't feel no way that it come. What we should do, we should play something for the mother-in-laws too. As we done here already, we done in trouble already. What they say? I just want to say these has nothing to do with Seymour Villarreal.
It's worse than before. I am tired with his nosy mother-in-law.
Oh, my lord, oh.
It's worse than before. I do not like a nosy mother-in-law. They become a nuisance to married life. They want to tell you how to live with your wife. Well, it is misery, sorrows, and war to live with a nosy mother-in-law.
All right, enough. I mean, you know all they saying about the people on them. Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and keep celebrating. Now, the obvious of the road marches going back to Rose. I think everybody's supposed to know this. This is the easy one out of the two. The second one, I feel like I could have some problems. This is Road March 1977.
Somebody crying. I just couldn't imagine what was happening. I saw this old lady running, calling out to she never ran, saying, never, never, come on, Lord, the house on fire. And if you hear she fire, fire, every wire, wire, oh yeah, yo, yeah, yeah. Fire, fire, venga cada pito, dame mucho agua, need for so, yeah, yeah, venga.
So salute to Calypso Rose, 82 years old, we celebrating birthdays by Mother's Day. Alright, let me get into some of the action now. I'll tell you, this is a belated episode, and this is cleanup time for everything that we was talking about before. So I want to jump into this story again about PC Jilks and our gracious, what do you call the man now? Police Commissioner McDonald Jacob. Listen, McDonald Jacob is this is a man and a half now, a man amongst men. Again, just to if you're in here and this in a long time, because this is the first episode of sharing to WhatsApp groups in a long while, right? And a fellow asked me today, he said, "Boy, what happened? You done with the podcast, or you don't do the podcast no more?" So I can't understand what people do. So if I don't share it on all the WhatsApp groups or post it, but I guess that is my fault. I need to spread it so that people can better go. I'd be tired. But just know that if for the last 10 episodes or so, I ain't shared this to no WhatsApp group. So if you're now reaching back, you have some catching up to do. There are plenty old episodes that you miss. But your boy McDonald Jacob came out and talked about the killing of PC Jilks and Diego Martin as friendly fire being hogwash. Soon after autopsy was done, and they realized now that it's a police bullet. So the according to him, the direction of the investigation has changed. So reading from the news they hear, right? This is from Shane Superville. An acting corporal and 2 police constables are now on suspension after a ballistics report has revealed that the bullet which killed a police officer came from a police gun. Surprise, surprise. Acting Commissioner of Police McDonald Jacob signed off on the suspension letters on Friday after being briefed on the forensic details of a bullet recovered from the death of PC Clarence Jilks. Speaking on Newsday on Saturday, Jacob confirmed that the officers were placed on suspension shortly after he received both documents. He stressed while he could not divulge much information as the probe was still ongoing, he also confirmed that Senior Superintendent Joseph Chandul, head of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, and the Professional Standards Bureau would be overseeing the investigation. Now again, just like I said last week, look how measured this statement is. All of a sudden, people know how to talk in a diplomatic way and non-final way, if I could put it like that, where he not bringing like he's singing. Because when it was my boy who they thought was the killer, the conversation wasn't like this, you know. It's like, we have to get him. You touch one, you touch all, surrender to the police now. And it was a heavy gun talk. Now all of a sudden, you can't divulge information and you can't say this and that. On the scene of the thing, I'll keep on saying that what you said while you were there was that residents coming up with stories, and that is hogwash about friendly fire. You're on record as saying that. The video evidence of you saying that is hogwash, that will talk, no bother with them and that. When you could have simply say, hey, we cannot divulge much information as the probe is still ongoing and we're looking for a suspect and we're encouraging him to turn into. Why would you say that? Now you're wearing egg, you're looking like a fool. Because now you realize that it turns out there's a police bullet who killed the man. And again, the 3 police officers who may now be suspects, they suspended. There's no call for them to turn themselves in. There's no 80 other police officers driving cars, blocking up the whole Diego Martin main road to reach down there. The response state is completely different. As I said a couple of weeks ago, I understand why if a criminal was to kill a police officer, you want to respond heavily to that, because listen, the crime is ridiculous. I don't know if you all saw the video or videos this week, a whole shootout going on in Santa Cruz. They're not stopping firing in Santa Cruz. They're just seeing people running. There's bullets galore. Like, where they getting all this ammunition? Next situation by a bar with a shooter. These things getting out of hand. It's like everywhere, anywhere, any time of day. Nobody does seem to care. So when police, if a policeman get killed from a criminal, I think a strong response is needed to let people know that, hey, killing is wrong, all wrong, and we want to live in a safe society. But you see, this way, you have no respect for the law. We bring down the heavy hand of the law on it. And I will say that I would like to see a response like that if it's friendly fire. Because if it's friendly fire, let me say it's one of the 2 things. It's either deliberate or it's a mistake. If there's the kind of mistake you're making, I need to see you as a police officer brought to answer for these types of things. And if it's deliberate, I guess you will never be able to judge somebody's intention after the fact. But where's the response that says, hey, you can't be killing other police officers? Where's that response? Where are the 80 police cars? Where's that? Instead, we have, I'm stressing that I can't divulge much information as the probe is still ongoing. All right, cool, no problem. Jilks 44 was a part of a team of 12 officers assigned to Western Division Task Force who responded to a report of men with high-powered rifles at Rich Plain, Diego Martin on April 22nd. Police initially claimed that they were fired upon by a group of men and returned fire. They claimed Jilks was killed by the assailants and launched a manhunt for the suspects. No manhunt for these 3, they're just suspended. Suspended, I don't know if suspended and arrested, like they used that interchangeably, because the goal was to arrest this dude. And that is what they say the goal was, right, in this manhunt. My belief is that it was to get rid of he. He's a fella, boy, me no way he hide, he get through in life. Because I don't think he was going to get through. But anyway, a postmortem later revealed that Jilks was shot in the neck from behind. Jacob said the officers were suspended with full pay. Jacob said the officers were suspended with full pay. Now, all right, if there's a protocol and that's how you had to do it based on men employment and so on, yeah, I think suspending with full pay. I saw some people upset about this in the comments on social media. Just keep in mind that it's still due process and it's still innocent until proven guilty. I would just like to see that be extended to the commissioner's statements when it comes to somebody who you're tracking down and you have a manhunt for and you're sending 80 vehicles for. Just the same equivalent that these people have to be suspended with full pay to allow the investigation to move smoothly and without obstruction. I would think that you want to apprehend the suspect so that the investigation could go smoothly too. Not basically rubbish all other claims. Anyway, I make my point, right? The head of the Western Division, Senior Superintendent Kelvin Thompson, has also been replaced and sent on approved vacation leave as of next week. So he's not suspended. They send him on vacation. Thompson claimed at Jilks' funeral on April 29 that the officer was able to fire upon the shooters after he was shot. All right, Thompson. Yeah, Thompson, enjoy your vacation. Jacob said while acting senior superintendent of the division has not yet been appointed, ACP William Nurse, now in charge of Tobago Division, would take over as the officer in charge of Port of Spain Western Division after replacing ACP Daniel Moore, who will be now transferred to Tobago Division. All right, so this is what happened with this, and this is a story that I'm going to continue to look at because we need to get closure on this as a people. This is not something we could take lightly. Because we have all heard many stories about people who talking about in certain areas, hotspots. I remember one in particular with her grandmother who said she was looking out her window and she saw her report. I was listening to Umbala talking about this back in the day. That's how long ago this was. And what she was saying was that they put her grandson and them to kneel down and they shot all three of them in the head. I don't know if all you remember that story. This is police make them do that. So they say police came for them and she was saying that nobody wasn't shooting at the police execute the boys. So when you hear stories like those and claims like those, we might sit down from where we sit and say, boy, listen, all I'm talking about, he's a good boy and he's a good boy and you had to get rid of them. A lot of people, like, we have that sentiment sometimes. You have to get rid of them one less and that kind of thing. But we have a court and a judicial system for a reason. And I don't believe in anybody bypassing that system for any reason. Because if you could say that we had to get rid of them, then you're condoning as well gang violence where people could just kill one another because there's one less as well. It's not just the police could kill them. I hear a man say they need to put all the gang and them in the savannah, let them shoot out and kill one another, and then Trinidad will be peaceful. I don't even know. I think you could just rise up more people. Yes? So there's a situation I want to keep paying attention to see what comes out of this. Because I want to just take a step back for a minute and give McDonald Jacob some credit. I gave him some licks for the last few weeks, and I was thinking this week I need to give him credit because it would have been easy for him to get additional information. Like he gets shot from behind, or like the bullet was a police bullet, and attempt to cover all that up to save face, because now you went and say hogwash and thing and you're embarrassed, so you hide up that story or work some simidimi for that to disappear or whatever. So I want to commend him for being big enough. He didn't come out and say, well, I make a mistake. I would have loved for him to come out and say, well, listen, I misspoke. I was too presumptuous. I was given information by people on the ground that seems to have not been true. Whatever it was, or I didn't corroborate what was given. I apologize to the people of Rich Plain. I would have liked to hear him say that, but stopping just short of that, I appreciate the fact that he was man enough to be able to pull back from it and say, listen, okay, I was wrong about this. We're going to let the investigation take its course, and to have a commissioner there who is willing to at least go through the necessary protocol to investigate this and see what becomes of it after, to suspend the officers in question. So salute to McDonald Jacob. So far, so good. I like that. I just hope you don't go off again like that and find out more information before you do things. But at minimum, the man coming out and say, hey, let me investigate this. So hopefully this minimizes situations like these in hotspot areas, not just for these people in Rich Plain where you have a situation like this where a resident would have easily been blamed. Because keep in mind that when McDonald Jacob reached there, it's police who tell him this story, it's police who tell him the man kill him, the police and them who shoot with a shovel, however the bullet end up in him. It's them same police would have come and tell him, nah, they kill him, and get the man wrong information and have him looking like a fool. But anyway, we on police, so let me continue talking about police, right? And you see this thing where we used to play police and thief back in the day and play cops and robbers. And sometimes when you're reading these stories, you realize that we should have just played thief and thief, or police and police, or cops and robbers, because it's looking like it's the same people. Same news day. 15 charges for 2 cops in firearms racket probe. Now remember that the probe was going on into the FUL thing, and say Gary thing and Gary boys. And my point to that has always been this had to be going on long before Gary was commissioner. And judging from the photos that I am seeing, here, these policemen are not junior men. These policemen been there long before Gary was there. But anyway, the Newsday reporter is saying 2 senior police officers, once assigned to the firearms unit of the police service, have been charged with a series of criminal offenses for approving people to obtain legal weapons without lawful authority. They were charged late on Friday after a month-long investigation by a joint team of investigators assigned to the Professional Standards Bureau and the Financial Investigation Bureau. The officers were arrested on May 3rd. A police release said ASP Aaron Beddoe and Sergeant David Swanson. Now, so what they put? Swanson age is 45 and they put Beddoe age, okay. But I wonder if it's the same Sergeant Swanson who used to be on Slam every morning talking with Blaze and them. I find that was such a good little show where it's showing you slightly lighter side of the police, and callers could have called in and asked questions, and it was interactive. And Blaze is a good man to keep people funny and keep the thing light enough. So I used to go good. I wonder if that's the same Sergeant Swanson. Anyway, Sergeant Swanson of 45 of Oropoon Gardens, Piaco, were charged with misbehavior in public office by conspiring with other people between February and April 2021 to approve variation letters for licensed firearm holders to purchase additional firearms and ammunition. Okay, so the charge really seems to be around variations and not first time issuing a FUL. Because everything I hear about this FUL process is that if you apply today, look for that about next year after to get through with the thing. I do not know for the life of me why there's any process in this world that would take a whole year. So, for the people who listen to this and know, or you go correct me, right? But my understanding is that you have to fill out some forms. You have to send a couple passport pictures. You have to get a letter from your job saying you're not a madman and they're comfortable with you owning a firearm. You have to get a letter from your wife saying she's good with you having a firearm. You have to get a physical and a mental to say that you're good. And certificate of good character. So they have a few items that you need to furnish them with. And I don't understand why when you get that, you can't get a response the next day. Let's assume that, or at least from what I hear, that the police have to send somebody, I guess, to check your premises. And I'm not sure what is the logic behind that. What you keep the gun, or what is he trying to protect? What is the rationale for it? Okay, so let me get them more than a day. What you say? A week? 2 weeks? Well, going back to my experience, I'm pretty sure I talked about this here before, where I had gotten, while I was in Jamaica, somebody had broken into the office. And when I went to make the report and stuff for the police, he was telling me, he said, boy, listen, you're a young fella, you have your business and thing in Jamaica. He said, you need to apply for a firearm. You know what I mean? That whole process to apply for the firearm then was in that same police station. I was getting everything done there and signed off. It's 2 years and them kind of thing. If you apply for that firearm, by next month you get what is it really called, is equivalent to a learner's permit kind of thing, so you could go on the range and practice and don't. I can't understand what could possibly be taking a year. But again, I always talk about our society as being one where we set up and designed for corrupt activities. And one of the ways to keep things corrupt is bureaucracy. Anywhere you see plenty bureaucracy and a little bit of flexible morality, you're going to find corruption. Because if a man see that video with people shooting up the place in Santa Cruz non-stop, or forget the video, right? If you live in Santa Cruz and you know in down any block there people shooting up the place, and let me say you have a little liquor mart, you have a little fruit stall, you have a little business, you know what I mean? When I was in Jamaica, I had a business that I doing the same kind of work I was doing now. And we were representing a brand, well, you remember Sony Ericsson back in the day. Our business is more, it have nothing to thief. Let me put it like that, right? The place, we don't have anything of real value in the office. It's a real administrative office. I talk about what we're doing is hiring people who represent Sony Ericsson throughout Jamaica. Our staff is on the road whole day. I am the only one in office, me and nothing to thief. But when they saw the sign with the Sony Ericsson and the stickers and the posters, point of sale material, the fella assumed it had plenty phones. And them days, they used to do dummy phones, like little replicas looking like real phones. So he must tell himself, we are a real phone and then we sell phones. So that's a fast hustle. And that man break through the roof, bust up the galvanize and come through the ceiling to be able to thief and go on. He must get a laptop and a printer, things that extremely valuable to me, but them going to go and sell dog cheap on the road. Them things have no value to nobody else. So imagine me, like I say, I in Jamaica doing my little business, a man coming around, he breaking the place now, and I worried about my safety. And I go to sleep night and they shoot out, a whole minute worth of gunshot firing and things sparking all over the place, outside by me or by my business place, or men coming in. Thank God when the band breaking my office there, nobody was there. He breaking overnight, and I have a funny story about that too, But imagine me being in the office and somebody breaking and coming. I have that experience. Or you remember Nicky Crosby and them being robbed multiple times, or being in the midst of a robbery in a place and that kind of thing. Why I wouldn't pay the $30,000 to expedite my license when it's going to take me 2 years of feeling unsafe, 2 years of being humiliated in front of my family when a man could just run in my house and take my things? 2 years of my life being at risk. You understand what I'm saying? So with these, it makes me wonder if processes like these not deliberately dragged out. So people like, I don't want to call these two fellas names because they're charged and they're not yet convicted or anything like that. But if they have people like this in the police service who making a living, it would be in their best interest to let applications sit there. Because if the applications sit there and the morality flexible in this country, they know that a certain percentage of people going and jump out. Or I hear 30,000 is the figure. The first time I heard that figure, it was $8,000. That was 20 years ago. So inflation and all them things, right? $30,000 now. And they could get a firearm license. So they say these men getting charged for variation. If you remember, we had spoken about this on the podcast some weeks ago where they had pulled over a vehicle and the man had a whole artillery in the trunk like an arsenal. Remember that? And he had a license with variations. The variations typically, whatever, my understanding of the variation is that when you get your FUL, it identifies what weapon you could carry and how much ammunition or how much rounds you could carry for the weapon. So if at any point in time you have your FUL, it say, listen, I have a Glock 19 and I could carry 15 rounds at any one time or 30 rounds. So you have to get variation if you want to carry more ammunition. I was watching Better Call Saul the other day and Mike went to buy a gun from a man, right? And the man was telling him, listen, there's a 6-shooter, right? And I could get one of these things in a magazine with 15 shots. He said, but listen, if you can't get the job done in 6, then you're into spray and spray or something like that. He said, if you can't get it done with 6, then you probably ain't going to get it done with 15. So what is this thing with this variation now where a man who have a gun and that could carry 15 rounds and one in the chamber, he need a variation to carry 30. So he wants to carry an extra magazine. What war is he planning for? What is going on? Now, I'm saying that against the backdrop of this thing I see in Santa Cruz today with all this bullet flying. But I don't anticipate, well, and I could only talk for my life. I don't anticipate anybody coming here to open up automatic weapons on my house with 15, according to my boy in Better Call Saul, 15 shots ain't gonna do it, right? The variation, as I understand as well, is if you want a different type of weapon. So if you need another weapon. So if somebody I know has a variation for, he has a normal, well, I guess what you call a normal pistol. And then he have a variation for a shotgun. It's big. It's big and it's intimidating. It's looking frightening to me. If I see that anyway, I gone. But I understand his logic and his need to protect his family and that kind of thing. And he has always been telling my boy, go and sort out your thing. Don't wait on this thing. Make sure, you know what I mean? You have your family, you have your house. I say, all right, brother, go in. And then now we have a little small pie. I don't know what it's called, that small pie. It's easier to carry around than the big one. So the thing about this is the variations and things, it happening. But again, we had to have as a society some kind of like threshold is the word that comes into mind, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I'm thinking like some like a policy. Like for instance, in England, is nobody don't carry. The police ain't carrying. Nobody can get no license for no gun. We go settle with thing is fisticuffs. So any gun on the street is illegal and we'll take that off the street, right? Gun is for the army. I kind of like that philosophy a little bit. But I think to be able to move to that, we need to be living in a civilized place where people know how to behave and people have opportunities. And because you can't take away the right to bear arms from everybody else. And it's when it's so easy for the criminals to be able to get arms and shoot up the whole of the Santa Cruz, you know what I mean? That go be bad. That ain't going well. You go leave like sitting ducks in the house. A man told me recently, he says security does not mean locking up yourself tight in your place, you know what I mean? You have a good point, you know? So he was saying that security mean you have to attack. And if you tell me that in the context of a fella by the name of Dindial. I don't know him personally, but I know the spot. Dindial's also, that is very close to where I live. And they come to rob the man he Hilux. The man he auto parts business. You know how hard it is to run a business? No more years you have to run a business before you make some money. Yeah, your little Hilux and thing. But they say the man FaceTime in Hitcher and he done buy some fruits or something for them. And he tell them they wanted doubles. And the man go, this is just a day in a normal man life. And that is the end of that. Because man come for your Hilux. And next thing is bam, 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 you dead. So unless we could go to a gunless society or a weapon-free society, if we could control the borders and make sure the criminals don't have their handguns, that ship sail. So then we could say, okay, for a man to protect himself, this is what we will allow. This is as far as it will go. So that you know it's not AR-15 and AK-40. I mean, that's high-powered military weaponry. But anyway, let me get back to these folks. The good Bedo and Swanson. Bedo 56. Oh, look, Bedo age here, man. Bedo 56 of Bedo, look every minute of that 56 in this picture. Bedo 56 of Riverside Road was charged with 6 offenses, while Swanson was charged with 9 offenses. Investigations are continuing as the team of officers are to again approach the DPP concerning other offenses. Commenting on the outcome of the probe, Commissioner McDonald Jacob said, as the investigation continues, he expects some more positive outcomes. Well, yeah, this is a positive outcome. Let me give them a salute for that again. There are 2 people charged, and who are the answer for this thing where earlier issuing variations. I want to say as well that if I remember right, one of the major concerns coming out of that report of the into the FUL unit was not just the variation thing, it was also the issuing of licenses, which I heard McDonald Jacob come out and say already, that if any licenses out there seem to be ill-gotten, they will pull them back. That could be interesting. Because I expect that a law-abiding man who got his gun under false thing or some kind of bribery will walk back in, hand them back the gun and hand them back the FUL. You know what I mean? Because Trinidad, we are very law-abiding. We wouldn't think. But the reality is what will probably happen is, you know, when we get a list of people now, when they try to take back people FUL and try to take back gun, you might get a list of lawyers, Anna and Ram Logan, Lala of some sort, Omar Larry. You go get what my partner name again? Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj. What the next one name? They have a list of lawyers who are going to take up that case, and none of them FUL not going back there. So I hear you on the intention to take it back if it was ill-gotten, but nobody not going to admit that they paid that 30,000, and everybody going to keep the license. So we'll keep our eye on that, but the other accusations were the initial license, not just the variation, and also the dealer licenses. How many licenses were issued for people to be able to have gun shops or sell guns, for lack of a better term, right? So we'll keep our eye on that. But for now, salute to McDonald Jacob again. You all your flowers. Always you do a good job. I let it be known you do a good job. You can't just come and bad talk the man right through, right? On to the next story. Judge rules cop search of Schoon's property was illegal. This country nice though. So if you remember, Schoon was the person who, there's the man who throws soca, right? And I really was hoping he get away earlier than this because him say nothing for the summer here. All kind of fantasy Josie's jamishness, jam naked, Bacchanal Road, everybody thinking, but it's no summer soca. Schoon, you're free now. But anyway, let me see what the article says. This is from Derek Achong in The Guardian. A High Court judge has ruled that a justice of the peace acted unlawfully in granting the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service a warrant to search businessman Adrian Schoon's properties as part of its investigation into whether he breached the public health regulations by operating a party boat in December last year. Now, there are a few things wrong here, right? Remember who this man is, right? And we said in the beginning we were looking in to see if anything was going to come out of it. Because this man, mother is nothing happened to them. But so I was surprised when I saw the police response. Remember that this is the same man who called the Attorney General from the police station allegedly, who is no longer Attorney General and all that. And there was a whole, this was messy. And the response was then to go up in the man's place in Larrivée or whatever the place name is and search his property. And also get a warrant to search his devices. If I'm not mistaken, it was a separate warrant where they had to go and get the man laptop and phone and going. And I think to myself, but wait, if you throw a party on a boat and you're in breach of COVID regulations, this response seems a little extreme. There's a lot of response for what is a simple crime. Look at what happened over this weekend. It's fed. People fetting all out. So he break the COVID regulations. Okay, wouldn't that just be a fine or something? What it called for all this for? Anyway, Delivering a judgment yesterday, Justice Ricky Rahim issued an order quashing the warrants granted by JP Oliver Boodoo. So we know the JP name. The decision means that the electronic devices seized during the raids on his properties are to be immediately returned. Wait, now this man now getting back his things. This is why he couldn't plan no soca. The man in his phone, the man was he lost the WhatsApp group with all the soca planners and so on. But JP Oliver Boodoo, I want to know what's going on with you. If this is deemed to be illegal, what happened? He losing his JP ship? What's the situation? Because if you issue illegal warrants, quick, so for police to go and take man devices, what's up? In the lawsuit, Schoon's lawyers claimed that the warrant issued by Boodoo on December 29th last year was null and void as it contradicted the terms of the Summary Offences Act. They also contended that the issuance of the warrant constituted an abuse of power and an improper exercise of Boodoo's discretion. Although Boodoo was served with the proceedings, he chose not to participate in the case as he did not file his submissions this week as previously ordered by Justice Rahim. So this is how it works. You could get called to thing and you could just opt out. Say, nah, Boodoo, we're going to need you to come. We're serving you some papers here to come to the proceedings with this thing because you issue your warrants here to school and that's illegal. It's to take the devices. That's not within your remit. And fellas, I couldn't know. I can't make it down there, because, it's Mother's Day weekend and thing. I think my mother and, I go by my mother-in-law and I can't make it. That's how it working here. Okay. Schoon, son of the Trade and Industry Minister Paula Gopi Schoon, came under scrutiny after police raided the Seaside Branch event aboard the MV Ocean Pelican on Boxing Day last year for allegedly breaching COVID-19 regulations, which prohibited the operation of a party boat at the time. Now, I saw a guy on Instagram break this down, and I agree with him for the most part. This situation very, very concerning. Let me say like McDonald Jacob, I'm very, very concerned about this situation. Because if a JP could basically issue something that, is it a mistake? Like they could say, all right, it's a mistake. You use bad judgment. Or is it something where he really abusing his power to give somebody to come and claim my device and stuff? What's going to come out of that? Why wouldn't I sue the state if I'm Schoon? Or and then how can this guy just not show up in court so he could just say, nah, fellas, nah, forget that. You know what I mean? There's a hard luck there. I was saying a little bottle for Schoon. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that is right at all. If you issue, you have to come and answer for it. I can't understand why he could choose not to participate. The words were, although Boodoo was served with the proceedings, he chose not to participate as he did not file submissions this week as previously ordered by Justice Rahim. My understanding of that is he say, here, what's going on? If you want to defend this warrant, send me your back in. What are you saying? Let me hear your side of the story. And he said, nah, forget that. Don't let that dead. That worrying too, because if that is the case, then with a minister's son, what kind of phone calls make? Because when all they call Attorney General and thing, I don't know that I get arrested in the police. If I get arrested, I call my wife, my father. I can't call no Attorney General if I have problems in no police station. So the fact that you can make that phone call says something. And fast forward some months later when it's time the JP ain't show up in court. That's them kind of narcos thing, you know what I mean? Man, just to show up in court. Like, who called him, you know what I mean? You know, he used to send frog and they tie the frog mouth and they put it by the manhole. I hear so. I was here, you know. School denied any wrongdoing as he claimed that the vessel was converted to a safe zone under the regulations. Imbert also weighed in on the issue as he confirmed that he had not authorized a special restaurant liquor license for the vessel or Schoon. Officials at Customs and Excise Division then wrote to Schoon's legal team informing them that the two special restaurant liquor licenses remain null and void and will be cancelled. Boy, listen, this is a whole scene. You know? Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi also identified in the issue as newspaper reports revealed that he had a telephone conversation with Schoon while he was being questioned by police after they stopped the event. Al-Rawi admitted to having a conversation but repeatedly denied giving Schoon legal advice on the issue or seeking to influence police's. Listen, all of this thing messy all how and according to my boy on Instagram, I can't remember the man's name, you know, he's do some nice little monologues, you know what I mean? I'll get the name eventually and I'll say it here, but he's do some nice little monologues on current affairs and issues. But this thing where you just didn't show up, you think it seems obscure. And either way is a problem. Number one, if all illegally issuing thing and thing like all targeting the man, That is a problem because for a party boat, so many people get involved. It's customs, the Minister of Finance, the Minister, the Attorney General. This is a lot. Or if it is that all that was done the way it was supposed to be done, but calls being made in the background. So, hey, JP, here we're going on the shop. Boy, forget that I'm a son, you know, I'm a son, I can't do it now. And your Mother's Day, I mean, come now. And either way, I see that as problematic. So, another one to keep an eye on. But hopefully, in the end, we will get a little soca out of it, right? Now, before we come off for the police, right, it has some little technological breakthroughs. I tell you again, McDonald Jacob, flowers today, you know. And they have a few technological breakthroughs that the man come up with as the police, you know what I mean, in terms of the detection rate and all these things of serious crimes. I just let me hear from him real quick, you know.
But one of the things that we did not forget and will never forget,
right,
is what we say is the traditional the science of fingerprint. We have upgraded our approach in relation to the fingerprint by the purchasing of 40 new AFIS machines, automated fingerprinting identification machines.
14.
And so far this year, it have assisted us in solving 115 serious crimes. And it contributed to the solving of 9 of our murders.
9 out of the 150?
Of the robberies. So I want to give thanks to the fingerprint experts because we tend to forget that science is very, very important.
Of course.
When we start to talk about DNA and ballistics.
Right.
But it have been assisting us tremendously.
9 out of the 150 something. Salute among that. I tell you again, McDonald Jacob, he flowers in it. But let me hear something about the ballistics and things. What about that?
Is that our ballistics center that we set up in the latter part of last year is helping us tremendously. In fact, 7 of the murders that we solved this year so far, ballistics played a very, very important part.
7 out of 9.
You all will recognize that recently in incidents that we had, it was also ballistics that assisted in some instances, letting us know what really took place.
Papa.
Helping us. So our ballistics center is one of the key that will help us propel our detection rate and take some of these offenders from off the street.
Right.
In the latter part of the year also, we get our DNA lab going at the Forensic Science Center.
Beautiful.
And that is also beneficial to us.
Beneficial,
in fact, we were able to exonerate persons by use of the DNA, and in some instances identify bodies that were found at a certain where it was decomposed through the DNA. And the DNA, as we utilize it, will also assist us now as we go further in detecting some of these crimes. No longer we'll need to take the DNA abroad and wait for months to get results at a high cost.
Salute to McDonald Jacob, man. Your police working for you. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong. But I'd ask McDonald Jacob, like, you ever see Law and Order? Have you ever seen, like, I wonder if you watch little series on TV and all these things, you know what I mean? You ever see, like CSI, you know what I mean? CSI Miami. You ever see any of these shows? Because, I mean, fingerprinting and DNA and these things, you know, but again, new technology to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Force, it can really help us with the crime situation. And we're going to get better and better with that. So salute to him and make sure that we good where they're concerned. You see me? Before I move on to things happening afield and abroad and so on, I want to just salute Calypso Rose in these times and play a next little Calypso Rose here, because I had to find a way to get out of this this thing with the police. This man now discover ballistics and all these kind of things. You see me? Let me take a drink here with the Rose, yeah?
You know, so this song is called Rum and Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Okay?
Gosh. Yes.
Believe me, my friends were more than glad. Calypso sing and make rum and make everybody going out their mind. It's rum and Coca-Cola, where them point Kumana.
Yes.
Both mothers and daughter, they're working for the Yankee dollar.
Yes.
From Chicago to Monaville, them Yankees man on smile and seal. Everybody they want New Year's Eve, everybody they drinking till Christmas Eve. It's just rum man.
Yes.
They're working for the Chicken and Mona Isle, them Yankees girl and smile. Had to celebrate their East every day was like your Christmas Eve. It was. Both mothers are working
For the Yankee dollar.
yeah. Woo. For the Yankee dollar, rum and Coca-Cola, where them point Kumana. Both mothers and daughter working for the Yankee dollar. Oh yeah.
Your performance. Yeah, I tell you about the crowd. I tell you, just like when you're watching Bob, you know, don't underestimate the things that we have, you know. Don't watch back because Bob, you know, one of the things about Bob Marley would have passed away young. When you pass away young and you're on top, you could go out as an icon, you know. But we had to keep our icons right up there. You know what I mean? Now, this past weekend, other than the Mother's Day thing, right? I have some foreign stories to get into, but other than the Mother's Day and the little luncheon we had for the Mother's Day, I get to play a little music, boy. It's a long time I ain't get to play music, you know what I mean? I pass through my mother-in-law and them, and it's always a pleasure when you play with Uncle Chris and them. And my mother-in-law, she have a voice, you know, she have a high-pitched voice like Rose too, you know. Anytime you pull out a quattro, she could get her back up, and she know song. But then I leave there and I went by the little band you would have heard me talk about Scratch before. Scratch is a known name in the valley. Rest in peace to my boy Scratch, a guitar man we used to play with. And the same side come together. Let me tell you who the side is, right? The side is the next man named Buckman. Buckman is one of the best bassmen it have. Now, Buckman is a man like you run like little weed, and, you know, so he's had to stop often for him to get he fuel, you know what I mean? He's had to fuel up. But boy, when that man started to pull a bass, it's something else, boy. And the lady of the band, so happy Mother's Day to my girl Marjo, you know what I mean? The matriarch of we little side. She every year she skip on Mother's Day line, and I always tell her, I say, Marge, you see Mother's Day? I had to go by my mother and I had to go by my mother-in-law. So if I could pass, I would pass. But since Scratch passed away, I know they just look forward to the little music and thing. And Scratch is the man Scratch have a repertoire of music he does usually play. When Scratch really is sentimental, he gonna mix down Bob Marley song with 3 little birds up by my doorstep singing sweet songs. And he used to say, of a memory pure and true. You know, none of the lyrics and nothing he's singing. You know. He used to mix down that with, whoa, whoa, yes, I'm a great pretender. Pretending that I'm. So he have a mix of music like that he will go down with. He have a Gabilan. Oh, Gabilan. Oh, Gabilan. I know what quattro is now. It's still in the car from when I went on the weekend. But when you see a man who is a singer or entertainer at this level, where he's a rum shop or a backyard entertainer, you need a little repertoire of songs that people know you for. All we sing is people's song, eh? But people know him for these songs and he's always going. So you could look forward to some entertainment. So I say, boy, you know, I can't imagine them. I mean, I really study in our school to come to drop this man in the morning. I want to go there too late. It's done after 8. But I say, you know what, let me pass through and give Margin them some music. I know when scratching they don't really have anybody else in the band who have a repertoire like that to carry it. Now they have an ex-quattro man named Oliveri. Oliveri good to Oliveri knows some song. And he and all have a nice little repertoire, but the thing with Oliveri now, he can't sing too loud. And when I go in, I sing it hard. So I say, you know what, I'll go down with Oliveri. I'll play. It's just me, Oliveri, and Buckman, and my good partner, Uncle Boy. And we play some music and we entertain them. And you know what I mean? There's a nice little yard down in, what is called the boy, Reverse Stateside. But every time I play music with them fellas, I always remember Scratch and how Scratch went down by himself in the COVID, boy. And coincidentally, one of the songs that make me fall in love with playing it with Scratch and them is a Calypso Rose too. And I want to just give a little taste of this Calypso Rose song. It's a favorite by Scratch. Tell me if you know it.
I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. Tonight I'm gonna put it on from dusk till dawn. I feel like dancing. Oh yeah. I feel like dancing. Tonight I'm gonna put it on, baby, from dusk till dawn. So me look at me, tell them, you might think I'm crude with my attitude.
No, I'm my country.
Not because I'm fire, hotter than ever.
No, I'm my country.
So keep your distance, I just want to dance.
No, I'm my country.
It's a nice party, don't wind up on me. I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. Tonight I'm gonna put it on. Oh yeah, from dusk till dawn.
Whoa, whoa, from dusk till dawn. So I get a chance to go and play a little thing. So it was always nice to come together with them fellas and play some music. But you know what it make me realize? As much as I appreciated the little lime and playing the music and them thing, I realized that Keisha and Tony should have get married again this weekend. I find like when Sunday reach, I feel like I should be somewhere fetting. Listen, I enjoyed that little after wedding fetting. If you know me good, I don't like to leave my house and stuff. Every time somebody tell me it's wedding and thing, I say, oh God, I don't find thing to wear. But listen, Stacey dress up like Black Chinese. A whole ninja outfit, and we go on to the wedding and we had that time. So I had to message Tony and them and tell them, I said, but what happened? Only we started here in this blessed May with a big fete on the weekend. And then this Sunday now too, we watching each other now. We have nothing to do when this Sunday come only that. I find when you're getting married, what is second Sunday? Second Sunday is when you get married. Well, if this wouldn't be the second Sunday, right? So Tony and Keisha only have something for we next week Sunday. I say so. Yeah, only have to do something for me. Only can't leave we hanging like that on our epic fete like that. And then it's just salt after that. It's just nothing. I don't like it. I want something to do on the second Sunday. But it also make me remember that in my running through wedding songs last week, I forget to play one of the wedding songs. Now again, this song have nothing to do with the actual wedding. It's just to show you how wedding songs, it's not apparently marriage is not a very celebrated thing in Calypso, you know what I mean? we not too much into, it's always about who getting horn, who tie who foot to marry who. So they have some songs that I forget to play. Only go bear with me, I tell all it is a leftovers kind of episode, you know, it's heavy leftovers we get in here. So it are two songs that I want to play. This is a song by Lord Melody, singing about Sparrow Wedding. You're supposed to know this too, right? Yes. He's singing it.
My
Man, you married a tramp and you came me to come. Hello, come. And the day of the wedding, she loaded with rum. And the ring you presented was made out of brass. That is how I know you lousy wet.
Yes. He's singing, he's singing.
Man, you married a tramp and you came me to come. Hello, come. And the day of the wedding, she loaded with rum. And the ring you presented was made out of brass. That is how I know your lousy wedding couldn't last. When your wife walking, people say she's shaking. She should wear a corset for the good she carrying. She should wear a harness. She face like a mask. That is why me boys are called she Belmont Jackass.
Yes.
Well, the clothes that she wear on a gracious wedding night. It was rampant like hell and full of rabbite. With a short little dress, all the men could see. And she drinking rum and water and watching at me. When your wife walking, people say she's shaking. She should wear a corset for the good she carrying. She should wear a harness. She face like a mask. That is why the boys are called she Belmont Jackass. Remember the night that she landed for the spear. So much rum, so much beer, and so much champagne. As she reached in the nightclub, she snatched up a man. That is why you black up she eye and send she out of the land. When your wife walking, people say she's shaking. She should wear a corset for the good she carrying. She should wear a harness. She face like a mask. That is why the boys are called she Belmont Jackass.
Bam 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 bidi bam 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 bim bam bidu bam bim bim badai bye. So listen, I don't want to forget to play again. I didn't know nobody, I want the people to keep our next weekend. I'm trying to make sure I cover all my wedding songs. I don't know how I could forget this one, because again, how much a favorite song I really have. But this one, I put in this one down as my favorite wedding song of all time. And this is what everybody's supposed to know and be able to sing along to. This one I had. Now this song is Good Morning, Mr. Walker from Sparrow. Everybody's supposed to know that, right? But tell me if you know the original version now. Yes.
She ugly, yes, but she wearing them expensive dress. The people say she ugly, but she father full of money. Oh Lord, mama, boy, boy. Good morning, Mr. Walker. Come to see your daughter. Mr. Walker. See your daughter. Sweet
Every time I take a good look at your face, I see a bamboo cold mama, boy. Good morning, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker. Sweet Rosemary, she promised she gon' marry me, and now I'm tired waiting. Oh. Apart from that,
Yes.
they say how she's so big and fat. When she dressed, they tantalize. She saying, monkey wearing mini, oh Lord, mama, boy, boy. Good morning, Mr. Walker. I'm going to see your daughter. Boy, Mr. Walker. Sweet Rosemary, she promised she gon' marry me, and now I'm tired waiting. All I know is I don't intend to let she go. 'Cause if she was a beauty, nothing like me could get she. Oh Lord, mama, boy, boy. Good morning, Mr. Walker. Boy, Mr. Walker. Sweet Rosemary, she promised she gon' marry me, and now I'm tired waiting. Oh.
All right, so you're up, man. Are you glad Kevin Samuels dead, or what is the situation? No, I shouldn't laugh at that. I'd like to say rest in peace to the great Kevin Samuels. I don't understand it. Kevin Samuels, if you don't know, is a YouTuber of recent times. Not what you think when you hear a YouTuber, right? When you hear a YouTuber, you're thinking like Zachary and them, right? But he's a YouTuber who was, I think they say he was 54 years old. And unfortunately, over the weekend or late last week, we just get things starting to come out on Twitter, which apparently was not the first time they had reported him as dead. You know the internet is goes. Everybody's 57 years old. Everybody, every now and again, he is here. This person died or that person died, and it don't be true. So when I start seeing it, I say, but nah, man, something ain't right here, because somebody as popular as him, you would think that would be major news on all the different websites. Well, sad enough, all the websites start to carry it eventually. And it turned out to be true. So, going from the New York Times here, this Kevin Samuels, a polarizing YouTube personality, dies at 57. Styling himself as an image consultant, Mr. Samuel aimed his advice at black men and women, drawing a large following and a chorus of detractors who condemned his views as outdated and cruel. Now, what I will say is this, right? Kevin Samuels a little rough in the way he's talk. And when he first came out, or when he first started to get YouTube popularity, he was even softer when he first came out, and he was done rough there already. The kind of thing he used to tell a woman. He tell a woman at a time. He was famous for women calling him for advice about relationships and things. And he was talking in particular to women who had wanted what he had termed high value men. He might have termed that, coined that term, high value men. Meaning a man who, I suppose, young and have a lot of money and a lot of access and a lot of power, and probably never been married and never had children and stuff. So the core of his message was to women who looking for these high value men, not understanding that firstly, high value men, according to him, looking for very high value women. But he also made a good point that if I have all those things going for me, right? I'm young, I ain't a chick nor child, I'm a multi-millionaire or making a lot of money. Keep in mind in the States, $100,000 a year and making you a millionaire, but putting you in the top 10% of earners in the US. So women looking for that, they're looking for the cars. Also, a man who don't necessarily need you to work, because that was a big part of what his thing was. So you home, you doing shopping all day, you on vacations all over the world for the Instagram. And this man bringing in all this money, that is the holy grail that black American women looking for in particular, right? According to him. And I can't just say according to him, because it's also according to a lot of the people who used to call in his Instagram show or his podcast or whatever he had. That's what they said they're looking for. Now, the point Kevin Samuels used to make that was a real good point is, understand that fellow who I just described there, that man have a lot of options, right? You are not the only woman who looking for him. The pool of women he has to choose from, a mating pool, according to Kevin Samuels, is very, very big. That's common sense. He could get anybody he wants. But Kevin Samuels was very crude in saying, why would he want you? It was rough. It was rough. I remember him telling one girl, he used to ask them, what's your weight? What's your height? Because he's saying that the women who come in around this man is women who either highly accomplished in their own right and all that and don't need anything that he have to offer where the material things are concerned, or just women who's look damn good, who's 6'5", Louis Vuitton and Prada out already, you know what I mean? And they could attract men like that. They're looking for top models. They're not looking for average women. So he used to ask them questions, which, funny enough, they used to call in and answer and take this abuse. And I remember him telling one woman, how tall are you? She said, well, I was about 5'4". He said, all right, well, you're too short. They ain't gonna like you anyway. What's your weight? The weight was big. I can't remember the number, but it was big. So he said, so you're built like Emmett Smith. You know, Emmett Smith is an NFL running back. I mean, he shouldn't really tell no woman. That's why I heard to be so mean to a woman. But I think he was making a point that a lot of people needed to hear. This checklist of things that women have about a man that they need to be with. And you know, he gone down even after his death as a man who was attacking women and things. But I thought he was an equal opportunity killer, to be honest, because he was just rough and crude and he was doing too much. He didn't need to do that. He didn't need to say them kind of things to people. Although people in their dose of reality sometimes, because you built like Emmett Smith, but he's saying set your sights differently. Set your sights on somebody who you could build with something, and that might not be bad advice, but it's how he used to put it across, used to run him into problems. And I remember doing an episode I found out about who he was through Acacia from an Acacia Victory Lap. Salute Acacia. And we had done an episode back in the day. I can't even directly as to what number that was back then, or if it was on my podcast or on hers. But there was a statement that he had made about that same high value man and them kind of things. And I was telling Acacia, I kind of agree with what he's saying. You know, you had to be realistic. So from a little bit about a man perspective, if you decide like, listen, your checklist is she must be 6'5", she has to be fit, she has to be making a certain amount of money, I would ask you, like, how much money you making? Yeah, I can remember I remember people business out there. I remember a partner telling me at time, all the way been big age. And out of the blue, me, you know, if it was a liquor talking or what, he said, boy, like, I would never get a virgin to married boy. And I was like, you're a virgin? What are you talking about? I don't understand people who is that. You have these expectations of people that you can't live up to yourself. It's like, listen, you've been on these streets. What are you talking about? That is what you're looking for. You're still in this Catholic church mode where you're looking for. But anyway, people have a tendency to do that. And Kevin Samuels seemed to be a person who was able to put people in check, because when he go live on Instagram, he had a lot of people following him. But I think because he got a lot of success with the crude nature of the way he talk, he just get more and more crude. And after a while, I couldn't really listen to him, even though I agree with some of the things he said. I don't think it's necessary to demean and belittle people and things like that. So with all that demeaning and belittling, also with people who would get a dose of reality in that you're backing up a tree that you're never going to be able to to get up. Because you're making yourself miserable as well with this definition of some high value man that you want this ready-made product. You have nothing to offer. but you want this ready-made product that would just fall over you. How I don't understand how that's happening. That man going after the same set of women. Every one of them will come up and like go and look at Kim Kardashian or Amber Rose and them dating history, and you'll realize that high value men playing from a small pool of women, so they're not looking for you. You know what I mean? But he was rough. I just want to play a little clip to show you how he was an equal opportunity killer. And without it, I mean, in his death, I don't want to play anything that bash any woman too much, because we don't say there's a Mother's Day episode and a love for women kind of episode. But a man call him a time, right? Hear the conversation between he and the man if you want to get a taste for who's Kevin Samuels is.
Rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
5'10". How much do you weigh?
Oh, I weigh about
2 what?
depending on the day, between 280 to 285.
So you're a fat.
Yeah.
So you think a 5'10", almost 300-pound dude? How much money you make?
Like 400 every 2 weeks.
So you make 400 every 2 weeks. So you make 800 a month. You make less than $10,000 a year. Okay.
How many 20-year-olds is heavy?
Hold on. Dude, I was a 20-year-old and I was making far more money than that. In the 80s, when minimum wage was $3.35 an hour. So I need to hear it. How long? You got a big dick?
Huh?
You have a big dick?
I mean, it's above average. I ain't no Ron Jeremy.
No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit.
Listen, so that's Kevin Samuels in a nutshell, right? Kevin Samuels is crude. This man he's crude, right? But rest in peace to him. And the question I really had is, like, if you didn't like somebody who was alive, do we have to, like, pretend we like them when they die? Because women was going in. Women was like, listen, you're going to high value heaven. People was laughing. People, you're talking about people who fat and who this and who don't take care of themselves and things, but a heart attack you die from. They also saying, rumor have it that he died with a woman who he just met yesterday about, kind of prostitution. So all this high value man thing, and you have to buy meat. You know what I mean? Who going on with you? And you're talking down to people. So I'll say this, right? You see me, I'm the type of person who, if I never like you in life, you can't get me to say nothing good about you in that. But I would rather just not say anything. But if somebody was to ask me, I would tell you, I don't like him, I didn't like him, and I still don't like him all when he's dead. God bless his soul. I hope he go to heaven, but I hope he go in a different path than where I heading. Because after in the afterlife, me want to see you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't have that in me to say, well, you don't like the person, but they're dead, so all of a sudden they become a good person. You was good to who you was good to. You wasn't good to me and you wasn't good, so you're just dead, as far as I'm concerned. And boy, listen, I'm glad me as I hear from you again. They're dead too. I mean, I gotta say these things, right? But it's true. But they going out of their way, this social media era, going out of the way to say mean things about him. Because he used to say mean things is a strange thing. I would just leave it alone and don't say nothing. Let people mourn how they want to mourn. I mean, a part of the story that was really sad was that his mother said that she found out about that on social media before they hear it from him. And TMZ and them so crude themselves. TMZ is playing all the 911 call. I don't know why TMZ find it necessary to do those things, but I suppose in this era, you get a lot of clicks and a lot of follows and things. When you play that, everybody go tune in to listen to it. So it's just one of them things. But I mean, salute to Kevin Samuels. They make a mark on this earth. He was a high value man. Yeah, they're going to take care of your heart and girl, you know what I mean? If you don't do an ECG and do a full medical and these things. But it yet to come out exactly what was the cause of his death. But it seemed to have been a heart-related problem. So that's the end of Solomon Agande, you know what I mean? Who will give you all this? We lost Derek Jackson to the game recently, who was the relationship guru. Now we lost Kevin Samuels, who had problems. Who is going to be so going to step up next to give these women all this great relationship advice? I don't know. I know where it's going. Anyway, before I get out of here, I want to just talk about the get back to Ozark. I got to the end of Ozark, and I see people celebrating Ozark as the way a series is supposed to end. And I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed. I don't like how Ozark end. I don't like how Ruth dead. Ruth was the soul there. I thought, and I was seeing the little spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'm supposed to say that first. Spoiler alert. If you don't watch Ozark yet, don't listen to this part, right? But when I was seeing people posting the little spoilers online and them kind of thing about that's how it's supposed to end and this and that, I tell myself, Marty and them dead. Marty and his wife. What do you want to again? Catherine? What Marty's wife's name again? Helen? Whatever the hell the wife's name was. I thought both of them were dead in the end. And Ruth would have gone to build the empire and she would have killed Camilla. Listen, is it strange that this woman's name is Camilla in this show? And she was also Camilla in Queen of the South. Like, it's the same person who just continued in Queen of the South as a drug lord when the brother died and all that. I thought Navarro would have dead. Spoiler alert, I thought Navarro would have dead. He dead. Like a nit. I find that was kind of soft to how he dead. He's supposed to know he was going dead there, but... And then Camilla and all of them live, but Ruth dead. And in the end of the show now is like, I ain't like how it's ending. I find all of them shit dead. The children, Marty, the whole birds, everybody should have dead. And then Ruth coming back. It also making me wonder if this is the last of Ozark. They kind of say the series done. A season finale. But when you leave it like that, what they doing? They leaving space for them to come back next time? Or what's the situation? And now I'm sad again because now I don't have nothing to rally me through till I watch Better Call Saul. So... Is like salt. I'm looking for recommendations for series again. I thought Billions would have thing, but I don't watch out Billions. Somebody tell me Vikings. Now, you have to understand some of me, right? Anything, I don't watch superhero movies. I'm thinking Viking and all these kinds of things. I can't understand. That's too more white people. I can't tell them apart and all these things, so it'd be a little tricky. But I'm gonna give Vikings a chance because the last two all they recommend to me was Peaky Blinders. And some kind of motorbike show where everybody riding motorbike. I can't remember the name of that one. I said that bike gangs and things like that. I don't like neither of them. So I'm going to fight up with Vikings and see what is happening there and rally through. On the sports front, what is happening, sports boy? Chelsea is the worst. And as a fact, I ain't even talking about sports because of Chelsea. Chelsea is just throw away everything. You know what I mean? You have a good little thing going. And... you're supposed to be easily, you couldn't get up there with the big boys, but you could have been easily in third place and cruising towards a Champions League spot. And right now, I will just use Calypso Rose to end off this episode and send a little message to these Chelsea people from it. Take this in.
Yeah, it's Calypso Rose, the Calypso queen of the world. Manu Joe Marshall Montano. Here we go. Hey.
Boy, don't touch me like you're going crazy. Let go me hand. Let me jump up in the band. I don't want nobody to come and stop me. Leave me, let me free up. Myself, let me jump up. So leave me alone.
No, not at all, I'm not chanting. Ay, ay, ay. When you see me, and your music hit me, ay, ay, ay. I just break me, getting on board with somebody. So when you see me in the line, no matter what the time, I ready for the pumping. From back in the day till I hold on a gray, I prepared for the jumping. If you're 15 or 25, if you're 50 or 75, once you're breathing and you are alive, it's all be whining all day.
So leave me alone. I ain't going home.
Tell Chelsea, leave me alone. Hey, Ollie, that's the end for me. You know, I am leaving this podcasting getting tiring now. This you see that I drop into school every day and thing. I'm trying to find time now. I to find where's the best time to record this podcast and thing. But you see, for today, I am done. Have a great week. Be productive. Drop them children to school. Pick them up. Enjoy the traffic. I will talk to you all next week. Bye.